Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Monday, July 8th edition, of the MMAOB Daily podcast. I'm your host, as always, Adam Martin. Going to be taking you guys through the latest in the world of mixed martial arts. First and foremost, guys, follow me on Twitter at MMAdamMartin. This podcast is available at MMAOzbigger.com and on our YouTube channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please tell your friends about the channel. I appreciate that, guys. Also, follow me at bjpenn.com, sherdog.com, MMAnews.com, and MMArings.net. So, a lot to talk about today, and we're going to talk about UFC 239 and just the fallout and the whatever happened in the card. It was just an amazing event. So much to talk about, guys. I'm just going to get right into it because there's so much to talk about. This was one of the best cards of the year on paper, and it turned out to be one of the best cards of the year as it played out. Just a fantastic card from top to bottom. I had the pleasure of doing the play-by-play for Sherdog. A lot of fun doing this one. Whenever there's a lot of finishes, it makes it a lot easier too. So just a great fight, a great card, and great fights, and some standout performances. So much to talk about. Let's get right into it. I'm going to start from the main event and work my way down just because there's so much to talk about on this card that's worth mentioning. So main event of the evening, Jon Jones defeats Thiago Santos via split decision. Two judges scored at 48-47 for Jon Jones. One had it 48-47 for Thiago Santos. Over at Sherdog, the other two guys, Cole Shelton and Tyler Treese, they had it 49-46 for Jon Jones. And I had it 48-47 for Thiago Santos. This was an extremely close fight that really could have gone either way, in my opinion. And I'm not surprised it was a split decision. I know I'm not alone in saying that I thought Santos won. I know Brian Okamoto, he's a very big journalist. He actually thought Santos won as well. And Dana White gave him some harsh comments when he told him that. But if you look at MMA decisions, there was a couple other journalists that had it for Santos. So I wasn't alone here. I did think he won the fight. I thought that he landed the bigger shots in this fight. His leg kicks, I thought, did more damage to Jon Jones. Jon, by the numbers, according to Fight Metric, Jon did land more significant strikes. However, I really did think that Santos landed the harder shots. I think what happened was Santos had that injury in the first round. I don't know if it was a knee or leg or whatever it was, but if it was pre-existing or if it happened during the fight, he was hurt. The judges probably scored Jon Jones extra points for that injury. And I can't blame him for doing that. But in my opinion, Joe Rogan's commentary, honestly, in this fight was very distracting. And I can see why a lot of people thought that Jon was just eating apart his leg and his knee. But really, I think it was Santos landing the big shots. Jon Jones had a massive hole in his leg that they barely talked about. I thought Thiago Santos did an incredible job in this fight. This was, in my opinion, the best Jon Jones' opponent has ever looked at against him. The Alexander Gustafsson fight in Toronto, that was the best fight I've ever seen live. 2013, amazing, amazing fight. Never forget that fight. And Alexander Gustafsson took Jon Jones the full 5 rounds, and he almost won that decision. But I really thought Thiago Santos actually won the decision. I thought he was going to win the championship title. And you know what? When Bruce Buffer said the first judge gave it to Santos, and then he said Jones, I thought Santos was going to get his hand raised. I thought they were going to announce that Santos won the decision, but Jones ends up keeping the belt. Again, close fight, no controversy here. I think it could have went either way. I really do. For me, okay, so one thing that I have a problem with is people saying, well, it's a championship fight, so the champ should keep the title in a close fight. That's not how fights are scored. Fights are scored without the belt even in mind. Fights are scored round by round. All Santos had to do was win 3 rounds. I thought he did win 3 rounds. So if you look at the judges' scorecards, if you look at anyone's scorecard, really, this was a tough fight to score because a lot of the rounds are super close. So I think Thiago Santos definitely won the first round. The second round, I think, could have went either way. I did give it to Jon Jones. Third round, definitely Jon Jones. The fourth round was another swing round. I gave it to Thiago Santos. A lot of people gave it to Jones, but a couple judges actually gave it to Thiago Santos. So I wasn't alone there either. The fifth round, I gave it to Santos. I think most people did. However, one of the judges actually gave it to Jon Jones. So that judge could have swung the belt to Thiago Santos had he given him the fifth round. And I feel like that judge he didn't want to do it. He just like, you know what? I don't want to be the guy that takes away Jones's belt based on 1 round. We've seen this happen before. Johnny Hendricks versus GSP, great example of a champion keeping his belt when he probably should have lost a close fight. But we have seen it go the other way. Demetrius Johnson versus Henry Cejudo. When Henry Cejudo won a very close fight against Demetrius Johnson, I thought he won that fight too, but again, it was a close fight that a lot of people thought DJ won. So it is what it is, but I just don't understand why people say, in a close fight, the champ should keep the belt. That is not, there's nowhere in the rules that says that at all. It just says who was the more effective striker, grappler, and then you go on to the other criteria. And in my opinion, was Thiago Santos. I thought he won the fight. I honestly did. I'm fine with Jon Jones winning the fight. Hey, I picked Jon Jones to win. I'm glad he won. It raises my pick percentage. But to me, Thiago Santos won 3 of the 5 rounds in this fight, and I think he should have been the champion. Now, he didn't get the belt, so it's okay. Now Jon Jones moves on to his next challenge. What will that be? I'm not sure. Now, again, Dana White's been asked about a rematch between Thiago Santos and Jon Jones. Dana White says no rematch. Dana White says this was a blowout for Jon Jones. That's a lie. It was not a blowout at all. It was not a close fight. Or excuse me, it was a very close fight. It was not a runaway like Dana White thought it was. He's just protecting his cash cow, and I get it. Like Jon Jones, that's why he wants to get rid of Jon Jones's asterisk against Matt Hamill. He wants to get him undefeated in his career. The one no contest against DC, and then a second no contest against Matt Hamill. I get it. You know, Jon Jones is a huge star. He's a huge draw. One of the few draws the UFC has left, and Dana White wants to protect him and start promoting him as an undefeated fighter. But you can't say this wasn't a close fight, Dana. Come on, man. Like, everyone saw this fight. It was super close. If Thiago Santos could actually walk properly, he probably would have won the fight. You know, he was hurt. Jon definitely has to get some credit for hurting him even worse than he was. But again, I thought Santos edged it out. Now, should a rematch happen next? Hard to say. You know, even though I thought Santos won, I'm okay with the rematch if that's what was going to take place, but it doesn't look like that's the case, and I'm okay with that too because he was the challenger. He didn't get the title. It's hard to run it back. I mean, we've seen it happen before. It's rare, but Shogun versus Machida a long time ago, 10 years ago now, Shogun lost a very close decision. Most people thought he won the fight, including myself. I mean, I've seen that fight a bunch of times. I think Shogun probably won every round in that fight. Now, the UFC agreed, and they gave him the rematch. He knocked Machida out in the rematch. So you could go with Thiago Santos for a rematch, but Dana White didn't think he won the fight. Dana White wants to do other fights for Jon Jones, I guess, and Santos is going to have to work his way back up. I do think Santos is one of the best guys in the world, clearly. With Gustafsson gone, with Rumble gone, with DC up a weight class, there's a lot of open spots right now in that top 5 at 205. So you have Jon Jones. Then you have Anthony Smith and Thiago Santos, 2 former middleweights who've looked amazing at light heavyweight. Who's ranked above each other? I don't know. I mean, Smith's coming off a huge win over Gustafsson, massive win. But they have fought head-to-head, Santos and Smith, last year, actually. And Santos won by knockout. So to me, I think you got to give him a little slight edge over Smith. But they're both really neck and neck right now, especially at 205 where they kind of have a clean slate. So those are the next 2 guys behind Jon Jones, and they both fought him already. And if you look through the division, there's one other guy in the top 5 or 6, actually 2 other guys that I'll talk. One guy I'll talk about in a few minutes, but the other guy would be Dominic Reyes, and he's undefeated still. Jon Jones said that if he wants to smoke him, get it. To me, I mean, that's a fight that Jon Jones wins. I mean, Reyes could win, I guess. He's good. He's a good fighter, but to me, Jon Jones wins that fight all day. So that's pretty much the only guy in the top 5. There's one other guy in the top 10. I'll mention him in a few minutes because he was on this card as well. They could get the fight, but really you're looking at guys like Alexander Rakic and Johnny Walker, prospects to fight Jon Jones, because those are the guys that are undefeated. Those are the guys rising the ranks, but are they ready for Jon Jones? I don't know. Would I like to see Johnny Walker versus Jon Jones? Sure, it'd be a good fight, but is he ready? Does he deserve a title shot coming off a win over Misha Serkinov? No, he doesn't. So to me, the next fight for Jones is probably, and I would hope, is the winner of DC and Stipe, because to me, yeah, he can stay at 205 and beat these guys, which is fine. He wants to keep extending his win streak. But to me, you know, Jon Jones is the best fighter ever. But if he really, really wants to build his legacy, he moves up a weight class and looks for a second belt. Again, I've talked about this on the podcast many times before, guys. Look at all the greatest fighters of all time. They have all fought in multiple weight classes. Anderson Silva, GSP, Randy Couture, BJ Penn. These guys have all fought multiple weight classes, have won belts, a lot of them in multiple weight classes. Conor McGregor's another guy. That to me is the mark of a true legend. Jon Jones is a legend. He's the one guy that I could give a pass to because he's been so dominant at 205. But to really test himself and build that legacy and make it no doubt who the greatest fighter of all time is, Jon, move up a weight class and fight some heavyweights, man. I mean, really, I want to see him challenged now. Thiago Santos gave him a great challenge. Came up short. Close fight, came up short. Now let's go to heavyweight. So it's either you do Jones versus DC if he wins at heavyweight. I don't want to see that third fight at light heavyweight. I don't understand why Jones and DC want light heavyweight. Dana wants it at heavyweight. Please make it a heavyweight if it happens. Or if Stipe wins, do Stipe versus Jon Jones. That's a great fight at heavyweight. And Jon Jones would have a chance to win that fight. That'd be an amazing fight. Or you do Francis Ngannou. That's another great fight. To me, the challenges for Jon Jones are up a weight class now. I know he hasn't cleared out 205. He never will. There will always be a new guy coming up. A few years ago, we said, oh, Jon Jones cleaned out the weight class. No, he didn't. There's always a new guy that comes up and shows up and says, hey, I want a title shot. Always. So to me, Jon Jones should move up a weight class. It's time for him to move the heavyweight. Again, it was a close fight. I know I'm kind of being contradictory here, saying it was a close fight. He should have lost, but he should move a weight class. Well, guess what? He got the belt back. Technically, he's won again. So even if it was close, Dana White has no interest in doing the rematch. And in that case, Dominic Reyes is next as far as the rankings go, as far as guys Jon Jones has to fought next. I don't know anyone who really wants to watch Dominic Reyes or Jon Jones. I like Dominic Reyes. He's a really good fighter. He barely squeaked by Volkan Oezdemir. Does he deserve a fight with Jon Jones? No. So to me, move up to heavyweight, Jon. It's time. Let's do it, man. Jon Jones versus the winner of DC and Stipe for the heavyweight belt next. That's the fight that I think makes the most sense. That's the fight I want to see. That's the biggest fight out there. Save for Brock Lesnar coming back, which it looks like he'll never will. So that fight's out of the question. And Francis Ngannou, who does deserve a title shot as well. But if Jon Jones wants to go to heavyweight, he's going to bump Francis. That's just the truth. Unless he fights Francis. That'd be sweet. If DC wins against Stipe and then retires, Jon Jones versus Ngannou for a vacant belt at heavyweight would be insane. Again, Jones, I really thought that he lost this fight, but the judges gave it to him. He is still the champion. And now it's time for him to make his decision. Do you stay at 205 and beat guys that you could beat up, or do you move up to a higher weight class and start to really, really build on your legacy as the greatest of all time? He already is, but does he want to get even greater? That's what I would think. I would hope Jon Jones wants a challenge. And the challenges for him right now are up a weight class at heavyweight. And we'll have to see what happens at UFC 241. I think that fight between Stipe and DC has to happen. We'll see what happens with those two guys, how that fight ends. And after that, we have to see what Jon Jones does. I hope that he chooses the challenges at heavyweight over beating up guys at 205 that he's going to beat. Thiago Santos was a great challenge, but to me, Dominic Reyes, guys like that, they just don't stand a chance against him. So we'll see what happens with Jon Jones. Again, great fight. I really enjoyed this fight, by the way, the Jones-Santos fight. To me, it was a super technical fight, very intense. Every punch counted, every kick counted. Very intense fight. Jones murders the victor by split decision. I thought Santos won. It's one of those fights that I think is, MMADecisions.com, great website. They have their most controversial decisions every year. I think last year was Wonderboy vs. Till. I guarantee you at the end of the year, this will be the most controversial decision of the year because it meant the most. It meant the most. It was a very meaningful decision that has changed the outcome of two guys' careers, Jones and Santos. And Jones for the better and Santos for the worse. But who knows? Santos will be back. He's going to mend up. He's in a wheelchair right now. He's obviously hurt. And Jones, he's also hurt. He got beat up bad in this fight. He'll be back too. He's a beast. He's greatest fighter ever. But we'll see what happens next. I do think heavyweight is the right way to go. But who knows what he wants to do. So enough about the main event. Again, a great fight, but I've talked about it at length now, so you guys know how I feel about it. Let's go to the co-main event here. Nunes knocks out Holly Holm. First round, 4 minutes, 10 seconds with a head kick and punches. What else to say about Nunes? I mean, you talk about the greatest of all time. As far as men go, as far as fighters go in general, it's Jon Jones. But as far as females go, there is no doubt Nunes is the greatest female fighter of all time now. You can't say it's anyone else. Cyborg was, I think, for the longest time. A lot of people say Ronda. I thought Cyborg personally, but at this point, you have to say Nunes because she's beat Cyborg head-to-head last year by knockout. She beat Holly Holm by knockout. She beat Ronda Rousey by knockout. She's submitted Miesha Tate. She's beaten Valentina Shevchenko twice. She's knocked out Jermaine Randry, and she has so many good wins. Yeah, she has a couple losses earlier in her career, but she's not that same fighter anymore. And she does have that loss to Kat Zingano 5 years ago in the UFC, but since then hasn't lost at all. 9 straight wins. And guess what? 7 of those wins are by stoppage. The 2 decisions to Shevchenko, which, I mean, hey, especially look how she looks right now. 2 wins over her, even by decision, look amazing right now for Nunes. So for me, she's the greatest female fighter of all time. I think that's pretty well established at this point, actually. I don't even think that's, I don't even know if there's an argument against it at this point. Look at her resume. It's incredible. And she's only 31, so she's in the prime of her career. She keeps getting better. This was such a clean performance by her. Holly really had nothing for her. Amazing performance by Nunes. She saw a slight opening when Holly dropped her hand and threw that head kick and knocked her out. It was incredible. Some people thought the stoppage was a little early. if you watch the replay, Holly couldn't even stand up afterwards. So yes, it was a good stoppage by Mark Goddard, in my opinion. Great knockout by Amanda Nunes. I mean, she's just so good. What's next for Amanda Nunes? It looks like Chris Cyborg too. Well, Cyborg has to beat Felicia Spencer. Dana White forgot about that fight apparently because he was saying, "Oh, Nunes wants to fight Cyborg. I have to see if I can make that fight." But he didn't talk about how Felicia Spencer could win that fight. And if Felicia Spencer wins against Cyborg, that makes it interesting because then you have an actual challenger for Nunes at 145. It seems like Nunes is cleaned at 135 right now. There are a couple other fighters there. Aspen Ladd, if she beats Jermaine Durandamy, she would definitely have a good argument for a title shot. I don't think she has anything for Amanda Nunes. She is a good young fighter, don't get me wrong, but she struggled a little bit in her last fight against Sahara Eubanks. Imagine how she do against Amanda Nunes. I don't know. We'll see what happens there. But yes, Amanda Nunes, I think, will fight at 145 in her next fight against Cyborg. That's my guess. That's my prediction. I do think Cyborg probably beats Felicia Spencer. We'll see what happens. Who knows? Felicia might surprise us all and go out there and beat Cyborg. And if she does, it's an easy sell to beat Felicia Spencer versus Nunes. But if Cyborg wins, especially if she can knock out Felicia Spencer, she can get back in the UFC's good graces and sign a new contract. I would love to see Cyborg versus Amanda Nunes too. The first fight at UFC 232 last year, amazing. Probably the best 1 minute fight ever in MMA. Just an incredible fight between those two. Nunes knocks out Cyborg. It was an incredible performance. Takes Cyborg's long win streak and throws it in the trash can with that brutal knockout. And took pretty much took her spot as the greatest female fighter of all time. So since then, Nunes, she had the Cyborg win, then knocks out Holm. Yeah, there's an argument to be made that Cyborg doesn't deserve a rematch, but let's be honest, there's slim pickings right now for Nunes. She wants a rematch with Cyborg. Give the champ what she wants. Let's do the rematch. That's the fight that makes sense. We'll see what happens at UFC 240 later this month. The winner of Felicia Spencer Cyborg, I would say, is going to be next for Nunes. And if I had to guess, she'll be back at the end of the year. And it looks like the UFC likes pairing up Jon Jones and Amanda Nunes, which I'm totally fine with too. They're both great fighters, and Jones draws a lot, and Nunes, she's still not a great draw for whatever reason. I mean, she should be a bigger draw, but she's not, which a lot of people were getting arguments on social media about this the other day. For me, it's like, whatever. She's an amazing fighter. I don't really care if she's a draw or not. That doesn't concern me as a fan of the sport, as a journalist. The fact that she doesn't sell as many pay-per-views as someone else, as Ronda Rousey. That doesn't concern me. That concerns the UFC and their bottom line. But as far as fan goes, she is the most exciting female fighter on the planet. So I enjoy watching her fight. And even if she doesn't sell as many pay-per-views as some of the other female fighters, who cares? Next up, oh man, I mean, this was incredible too. Jorge Masvidal knocks out Ben Askren 5 seconds into the first round with a flying knee and then some follow-up punches. As soon as it happened, I knew it was the fastest knockout in UFC history. I knew right away because I'm a historian of UFC and MMA, and I know that the fastest knockout before this was not 5 seconds, it was 6 seconds. So I knew that this was going to be the fastest knockout. It was just a matter of what did they time it at. If you look back at this fight, Jason Herzog, the referee, he was a little late to get in, and the fight could have been stopped a little earlier. It could have been stopped about 2 or 3 seconds. So really, it should have been that fast. The fastest knockout that I know of in MMA, and someone else could know about a faster one, but I asked the guys at Sherdog, and they agreed with me. It's actually the late Kid Yamamoto had a 4-second knockout a couple years ago. I think maybe 10 years ago. Go check that out. You can look that at YouTube. He runs across it, and it was a flying knee too. So the flying knee is one of those things that you can do quickly, and it can end a fight quick. So as far as I know, Kid Yamamoto still has a record of 4 seconds. That's an MMA record. There might be someone else out there on the Sherdog Fight Finder that I don't know about, that the guys at Sherdog don't even know about, that's at 3 seconds. But as far as we're concerned, at Sherdog, it's 4 seconds for MMA in general, but 5 for the UFC with Jorge Masvidal. So record-setting knockout. I mean, what else can you say? This was an incredible knockout by Jorge Masvidal. The guy is on a tear right now. Back-to-back knockout wins over Darren Till and Ben Askren, both as underdogs. People counting him out in this fight. I was counting him out. I thought Ben Askren would wrestle him all day. Ben Askren went for the takedown. But Jorge Masvidal had an amazing game plan. Go across the cage and smash him in the face with a knee. An amazing game plan. Such a well-timed knee. This was perfect. Picture-perfect knockout by Jorge Masvidal. You couldn't have scripted any better. Amazing. Amazing. Ben Askren, I mean, that was a brutal knockout. This is the kind of knockout that could change a guy's career. He was undefeated coming into this fight. Hadn't really taken much damage in his career. And then gets brutally knocked out like this, stiffened up. And you know what? I can see what Masvidal was saying about the referee not getting in there. Again, I do blame the ref a little bit. He was farther back. I get why, because the fight just started. But still, you got to get in there quick, man. And he was a little bit late with these punches. Like those punches, those extra ones that Jorge threw, they could have did some real serious damage on Ben. If I'm Ben, I'm taking a long time off. I mean, I don't think he should fight for the rest of the year, personally. I mean, he's a fighter. He can decide what he wants to do, but that's one of those knockouts that changes a guy's career. He should take a long break and clear his brain up because, man, that's the kind of brain injury that can, destroy a guy's career. There's been a lot of guys that have been brutally knocked out like this, and it changed the way they fought and it changed the complexion of their careers. So for Ben, take some time off, come back later. Some people are speculating that Dana White doesn't like him and they're going to release him. I don't know about that. I mean, to me, Dana could be that petty because he was kind of alluding to the fact that, oh, well, this guy wanted to have a shot in the UFC and he hasn't looked that good. Well, listen, he was getting his face match with Robbie Lawler and still ended up pulling out the win, even if it was controversial. He still got the win. He still got this number one contender fight, maybe, with Jorge Masvidal. Didn't win this fight, but to me, there's no shame in losing to Masvidal. The guy looks like the best welterweight in the planet right now, maybe even better than Usman. And we'll see. And what's next for Jorge Masvidal? I think it is Kamaru Usman. I think he does deserve a title shot based on this win and based on the Till win, but especially this win over Ben Askren, knocking out a guy who I had a lot of respect, who I still have a lot of respect for in Ben Askren, who I think highly of in Ben Askren, to knock him out in 5 seconds. That to me is a bigger win than anything Colby Covington has done. And I feel bad for Colby because I really like Colby. A lot of people hate Colby Covington. I like Colby Covington. I think he's good for the sport. I think he gets people talking. He's like Ben Askren. He's a troll. I like Colby. But a lot of his wins are by decision. He doesn't have a highly real knockout like this. It's going to be interesting to see. He has to fight Robbie Lawler next. What happens in that fight? If he goes out there and smashes Robbie Lawler, then people are going to maybe change their tune. But I know most people right now want to see Masvidal fight Usman for the belt. It's funny though, right? Masvidal and Colby are like best friends. We've been friends for years. They train at ATT together. They're best buddies. Colby's been helping Masvidal with his wrestling for a long time. Masvidal helps Colby with the striking. They're good friends, but Masvidal, he's a savage, man. He was even saying, I was watching the post-fight, not the post-fight press conference, but he was talking to the commentators after the fight, and he was saying, they asked him, would you fight Colby or, for a number contender spot or even what's going to happen with the belt? He just said, listen, I'm in the sport to put food on the table for my family. I have a couple of kids. If I have to fight my friend, I will. I mean, these guys spar all the time. If they fight each other, it's probably going to be for the belt, not a number contender spot. I would assume it's just for the belt. But you might see two friends fighting at some point. And I'm okay with that. I mean, we wanted to see all those years ago, John Fitch versus Josh Koscheck never happened. Cain Velasquez versus DC never happened. These guys fight at their gyms. Basically, they're sparring like really hard. But, to get paid for it, I mean, I feel like a lot of guys have said no to that in the past. In this case, though, they might have to actually fight. So it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, you might see someone leave ATT. It's possible, right? Like, you have Colby and Jorge, who are the number one contenders right now, basically co-number one contenders to Usman. And it's going to be really interesting to see who the UFC chooses. Dana White hasn't made his mind up yet, apparently. I'm surprised, especially Dana, knowing how he just kind of reacts so quickly. I'm surprised he wasn't like, yeah, Masvidal's number one contender. Colby, sorry, bud. But they want to wait for that Colby Lawler fight. It's a big card, I guess, next month, main event. So they want to at least have some the possibility of a title shot. But if I'm a betting man, Masvidal's getting that title shot against Usman later this year. Hopefully Usman gets healed up soon. All the best to the champ. But I think that Masvidal can give him a really, really tough fight because Masvidal has great grappling skills, underrated grappling skills, and his striking looks to be absolutely pinpoint accurate and brutally efficient right now. So the guy looks incredible. I've been watching Jorge Masvidal for over 10 years, and I never thought he'd turn into the guy he is now, but we've seen this happen with many fighters in MMA. I mean, Rafael Zonyo is another top guy at welterweight. He's another guy I never expected to be a champion in the UFC, and he went in and changed this game and became an incredible talent. It happens. Some guys really just do get into that second gear later in their careers. Masvidal is one of these guys. He's found it, man. He looks incredible. I'm not going to be sleeping on this guy anymore. Not after this knock over Ben Askren. An amazing finish by Jorge Masvidal, a record-setting finish, a well-deserved performance in the night bonus. And in my opinion, he should get a title shot after this. We'll see what happens. But, man, this was probably the knockout of the year and definitely the biggest talking point out of this card. Just an insane knockout. Wow. All right, what else? Next up, Jon Blachowicz. Oh, man, here's another one, guys. This was incredible as well. Jon Blachowicz defeats Luke Rockhold via strikes in the second round. Man, another amazing win by Jon Blachowicz, guys. I was extremely impressed with his performance in this one as well. Wow. I mean, what else can you say about Blachowicz, guys? I mean, the guy has extreme knockout power. Luke Rockhold, uh, great fighter. Don't get me wrong, but his chin definitely hasn't held up very much lately. And didn't in this fight as well. I mean, it clearly isn't the weight cut that's the problem with Luke Rockhold. It looks like it's just a problem with his striking defense and his chin and just in general. A lot of people are saying he's a class chin. I think that's a little harsh to be honest, but he doesn't have a great chin. There's no doubt about it. Blachowicz caught him on the right spot, brutally knocked him out. A great win for Jon Blachowicz here, and a win that he's ranked in the top 5, I think, now after this win. You'd have to think he is. He had that. You know what? He had the fight with Santos. He got knocked out, but it was actually an interesting fight until the knockout happened. As far as this goes, though, yeah, I mean, this is a big win for him. Probably the biggest win of Blachowicz's career. He's such an underrated fighter. I picked him to win as an underdog. He was my one underdog pick on this card, and he ended up cashing. I think he was plus 220 at close. So, and Masvidal, I should mention, was plus 180, another big underdog there. So, and there was one other in the prelims. So 3 underdogs. One of them was Blachowicz. So that was probably my best pick of the night. He looked great in this fight. Yeah, I mean, to me, no. Does he guys have a shot? No. But he's definitely one of the top ranked guys in that division. And he's proven beyond doubt that he's just an insane gatekeeper for that division. And Rockhold, on the other hand, I mean, Dana White's already alluded to it. He wants him to retire. Rockhold's 34. He's been brutally knocked out in 3 of his last 4 fights, like knocked out cold by Romero, Bisping, and now by Blachowicz. Is it time to retire? Probably, but it's going to be his decision, obviously. I think the UFC, they can't force a guy to retire, but they can kind of push him towards that way. And speaking of that, we'll just get into the next fight right now. Thiago Santos loses a lopsided decision to Michael Chiesa. Great performance by Michael Chiesa, but for Thiago Santos, another guy that has taken a lot of damage in his career. He was looking really good heading into this fight. Back-to-back wins over Craig White and Mickey Gall, but lopsided loss here just wasn't big enough. And I think at 170, it really showed that he's not a big 170er, and just loses a lopsided decision to Chiesa. Chiesa looked great. His grappling looked great in this fight. I'm not surprised he went to the decision. Sanchez has never been finished before. I said in the preview podcast he wouldn't get finished here by submission. He's been finished by strikes, not by submission though. And it didn't happen again here. So a great win by Michael Chiesa, but Thiago Santos is definitely on the way out, unfortunately. And the guy is an amazing talent, but he was an amazing talent, I should say. Ultimate Fighter winner. He's been in the sport for 15 years, but this time I think the sport has passed him by. Even with the great wins in the last 2 fights, I just think that's it for Diego at this point. He might get another fight, but Dana White did say that they're going to have a serious conversation about his future, and we'll see what happens because at this point, I mean, man, he's what else does he have to prove? What else does he have to prove in this sport? He's not a contender. He thought he was. He's not. Poor guy, man. I mean, great guy, but he's a little, as far as that goes, he was a little delusional heading in this fight, and he had some issues with his camp. Basically left what Jackson Winklejohn's been there forever. Don't know if that was a great decision, obviously. Especially going against a guy like Michael Chiesa, who, by the way, looks great at welterweight. Back-to-back wins now over Carlos Condit and over Thiago Santos. So that's 2 basically legends that he's won fights over, and he's looked great. I'll be right back, guys. Got to grab my phone. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm here. Let's see here. Okay, so it's got to pull my card up. For some reason, my browser is not working, and I can't get the results of the cards. So hopefully the podcast is still recording. It says it's live. If it isn't, I'll be sad because I'm really getting pretty emotional talking about this card. It was an amazing card. All right, what was next? Okay, all right, prelims. Arnold Allen beats Guillermo Melendez by decision, and Arnold Allen's great. 6 straight wins now. The guy looks awesome. I'm a big fan of this kid. And this was probably his best performance, just really clean performance by Arnold Allen. But for Guillermo Melendez, drops to 1-6 now in the UFC. That is not good. 5 straight losses. It's sad because Guillermo Melendez is such a great fighter, and he always has been. And I feel like newer fans of the sport won't recognize that this guy was a dominant champion in Strikeforce. I remember watching him 10 years ago, and we all wanted to see him fight Eddie Alvarez in a super fight. We all wanted to see him come to the UFC. He eventually did. He has not had any success in the UFC for the most part. He had the win over Diego Sanchez, which was a great win, but otherwise, that's it. And even that Sanchez fight was pretty close. It was an amazing fight in 2013, fight of the year, I believe. But other than that, he has not looked great. I think he's 37 now. I feel like this might be the end for Gilbert Melendez. He is not committed to retiring. He says he's not sure about it. He hasn't been getting finished. I will say this. He has never been finished by strikes. So that's something to keep in mind. It's not like he's getting brutally knocked out, but he just doesn't have – first off, featherweight, I don't think is the right weight class for him. He just doesn't have it at featherweight. But in general, it just seems like he can't keep up with the younger guys, especially a guy like Arnold Allen, who's so talented, so accurate with the strikes. Great performance by Arnold Allen here. And for Gilbert Melendez, could be the end of the line. We'll see. But if I'm the UFC, it's hard to justify, I think, keeping this guy around. He makes over, I think he makes $200,000 a fight or something flat, or maybe with the win bonus. But if I'm the UFC, how can you keep a guy that's 1-6 around? He's not a huge star either. He's a talent. He deserves to be paid after all the fights he's had in his career. But if I'm the UFC, I'm looking at my investments. I don't know if he's worth the money right now because he's not putting on great performances and he hasn't won a fight in 6 years. So love Gilbert Melendez. Not sure if this is the end of the road for him, but it could be the end of the road in the UFC. And if it is, a place like Ryzen would, I think, be great for him, or even Bellator. Remember, Bellator actually signed Gilbert Melendez a few years ago. UFC matched the contract offer. I think it was 5 years ago. I'm not sure. They might be regretting that one because it looks like, Bellator. It's funny, right? UFC, they let guys like Rory McDonald and Ryan Bader go and Phil Davis, a bunch of other guys. But they kept Gilbert Melendez, and it's not looking like the greatest decision. Worse, they should have probably kept Ryan Bader. Next up, bantamweight belt, Marlon Vera beats Nohelen Hernandez. Second round, 3 minutes, 25 seconds. Interesting fight here. Vera looked great coming out of the first round. He almost submitted Hernandez, and then Hernandez was able to kind of reverse him, get on top, and then start punching Vera in the face, heavy ground and pound. I thought Vera was going to be in trouble. Second round, he wasn't looking good. Hernandez was controlling with the wrestling. The guy's got good wrestling, but he made a mistake. He let Vera up for some reason. I don't know why. I don't get it. Really, I don't understand it. This guy was dominating Vera on the mat with his wrestling. He lets him up, and then Vera submits him right away. He takes him down. It was crazy. He hit him in the face with the knee, hurt him, and then took him down, submitted him. So good comeback by Marlon Vera. And to me, he's one of the most underrated guys in this division. 4 straight wins now by stoppage. He's actually, I believe, 8-4 now in the UFC with 7 wins by stoppage. So at 135, that's a high finish rate. The guy's a great fighter. I love watching Marlon Vera fight. A lot of people are like, oh, let's do the Sean O'Malley fight. Sean O'Malley can't even pass his drug tests. I don't know what's going on with him. There could be some issues. I kind of feel bad for the guy because he doesn't seem like, he's the kind of guy that's using PEDs. But I don't know. I mean, really, who knows, at this point. And he keeps getting caught, too. So love to see Sean O'Malley back, but he's got to fix his issues. So it's kind of someone on the Sure Dog said, it's embarrassing that this guy's, calling out Marlon Vera when he can't even fight. So Sean O'Malley's got to figure out his issues with USADA. Then he can call Marlon Vera. But if I'm Marlon Vera, I'm looking ahead to bigger and better things. I'm looking ahead to finding guys in the top 10, in the top 15 at bantamweight. I think he deserves it, especially after this one. He just keeps stopping everyone that's lower ranked. Time to get a step up. Next up, Claudia Gadelha beats Brandon Marcos by unanimous decision. 30-27 across the board. This fight, I don't even want to talk about this fight because this fight was terrible. It was an absolutely horrible fight. Really bad performance by Brandon Marcos. Just disappointed. I mean, she's so inconsistent, right? But she's actually looked good lately. She had that huge win over Angela Hill, probably her best win of her career. Then she puts a stinker up like this. She had no game plan. I don't understand what she did in this fight. She just circled. She threw no strikes. Gadelha barely won the fight. Yeah, she won, but she barely did any more than Brandon Marcos. So Gadelha is clearly on the decline. But Marcos, man, this was such a puzzling performance by her. You get such a big opportunity. If she had beaten Gadelha, she would have been one of the top contenders. Instead, she loses, and she might be a risk of being cut. I mean, if I'm the UFC, why would I keep someone around that just doesn't do anything in their fights? Her last fight, yeah, she looked great. I like Randa. I think she's great. She's a fellow Canadian. She's had some good performances in the UFC. She has a win over Carla Esparza, which is big. But this was a bad performance by her. Don't know if it was a weight cut. Don't know if something else was happening. She was injured. Who knows? Bad performance. A forgettable fight. Gadelha gets the win. She remains the top contender at women's 115, but just an awful fight. Next up, another great knockout. Yadon Song knocks out Alejandro Perez. First round, 204. I'm really high on this kid. 7 straight wins now. He's won 3 fights in the UFC. Only 21 years old. He's already knocked out 2 guys in the UFC. This was a good win over Perez, who's a ranked guy. Perez is a very underrated fighter, actually, in that division. Great win for Yadong Song, and trains at Team Alpha Male. Uri Fair has been hyping this kid up for a long time. I'm a big fan of him. I think he's really good. This was the coming out party. I think a lot of people were unsure about him heading into this fight, and for good reason. I mean, he hadn't really fought anyone great except for Felipe Tiamontes, who retired after he knocked him out. But this win is big. This is over a ranked guy. He's over a quality fighter in Perez. It's a huge win for Yadong Song. And again, Bantamweight stacked. I mean, there's guys like Vera and Song now who are not even in the top 15, but they deserve top 15 opponents, top 10 opponents. And I think at this point, you're going to see guys like Garbrandt, who his chin's got problems. Obviously, he's like Rockhold a little bit. You're going to see guys like that, I think, fall out of the rankings at some point. John Lineker got cut. He's out of the rankings. So it gives opportunities to guys like this, like Dong Song and Marlon Vera, to step up and to get higher ranked opponents. So we'll see what happens. But yes, great performance by him. Now heading to the Fight Pass portion of the card, Edmund Shabazian to miss Jack Marshall, first round, 112 in the first round. Amazing performance by Edmund. This kid is just the real deal. I mean, 10-0 now, 9 wins by stoppage, 3-0 in the UFC, wins over Charles Bird, Jack Marshman, and Darren Stewart. Wow, this kid's so good. Time to give him a step up too. I mean, I'm glad the UFC's taking it slow, I guess, with him, but it's time for him to get a step up. He deserves a top 15 guy. I mean, maybe they do want to just wait, but at this point, Darren Stewart looks like almost a top 15 guy. So, like, he beat him in his debut. And look who he's beating now. Like, Jack Marshall's not a great fighter, but he's pretty tough, and he submitted him in like just over a minute. So this was a great performance by Edmund. I believe that's the first submission of his career. It shows that his game's getting well-rounded. That prop on him winning inside the distance was like minus 130. So it's essentially almost like an even price. Amazing price on that. I mean, especially when it was like minus 600 on the money line. That was an amazing price for a guy that finishes fights. The one fight against Stewart where he won to split decision, it was a close fight. Other than that, he's finished everyone. 21 years old. This kid's the real deal. He's going to be a star. And you know what? You talk about future champions. I think Edmund Shabazian has a really good chance to be a future UFC middleweight champion. I think this kid is the future of 185. Next up, biggest underdog on the card to cast Chance for encounter defeats Ismail Nardiev via unanimous decision, 29-27, 29-28, 30-27. I think I had a 30-27 for Chance. Great performance by him, man. I mean, this was a fantastic win for Chance for encounter. Plus 435 underdog. So massive underdog, biggest underdog on the card to cash. You know what? I didn't think much about this guy, but I did see some pictures during the week, and I was like, man, this guy's massive. Like, he's way bigger than I thought. And he smothered Nardiev the whole fight. Nardiev's coming off a win over Perseris, a short guy at welterweight. It's still a quality fighter. He dominated him basically in his last fight as an underdog. I was like, man, this kid's he's gonna smash Chance for a counter. Nope, it was the other way around. Chance looked amazing in this fight. Great win for Chance for a counter, and like the fact that he used this platform to say to young Native Americans, hey, Aboriginals, I'm not 100% sure what the term would be in the States. Up here in Canada, we do call Native Aboriginal, but either way, he was giving them a shout and saying, hey, listen, I followed my dreams. You guys can too. I mean, he comes from reserve, right? So not a lot of opportunity in some of those reserves. And this guy's made it to the UFC, and now he's winning fights in impressive fashion. So this guy could become the face of that community and their fans, which is amazing. So good for Chance for counter, great performance. And for Nardiev, don't know what happened here. This bad performance. I mean, looked great in his first fight, but only 22 years old, tons of time to improve. But yeah, bad performance. And finally, opening up the card, we had Julia Avila beats Pandy Kanzad 30-27, 30-26, 30-26. Pretty much dominant fight by Julia Avila. I'm not surprised this happened. Kanzad took it on short notice. Avila's a really good prospect, good striking, and she looked good in this fight. So good win for her. Overall, fantastic card. I mean, I'd have to give it like at least a 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10. It was an amazing card. I mean, the only stinker was Gadela versus Marcos. Otherwise, I mean, the card was full of fantastic fights, great finishes. The main card, the pay-per-view portion, was the best of the year, I'd say. So just an amazing event overall. And, kudos to all the fighters for putting on the line. An amazing card. I think that's all I want to talk about today, guys. I mean, I got into everything. I mean, I talked for quite a long time. So, yeah, again, amazing event. But you guys can check out all my post-fight stuff. I mean, I've been writing like crazy right now. So I'm going to plug everything right now. Again, follow me on Twitter at MMAOB over at MMAOddsbreaker.com. Well, I'm already looking ahead. UFC Sacramento, that's this weekend. I will be coming with my opening odds reactions, but I'll plug that later. But for this podcast, though, please, guys, subscribe, like, share, everything. I'd appreciate that. I mean, doing it 5 days a week. I don't know if anyone else is doing a daily podcast Monday to Friday. It's not easy, but I love doing it. So, yeah, I've been committed to doing it for like over a month now. It was Nick's idea. I've enjoyed doing it. Hopefully you guys are enjoying watching it. I love talking about the sport that I love, that pays my bills. It's an amazing sport. And I hope that you guys are enjoying my content here. So check out the podcast that you already have, but just the channel itself is good. I mean, we have Mike's MMA picks. He's doing a great job doing his breakdowns as well. So give a shout out to Mike and all those guys there. Let's see. Okay, so Sherdog.com. I have my Beating the Books and Insane Props. They'll be coming out today and tomorrow. And I will have a Prime Picks article for the Sacramento card coming up in a couple of days. Also, I did the play-by-play for this card. And if you guys did check that out, I hope you enjoyed it. BJPen.com. I have a ton of articles at BJPen.com right now. A lot of post-fight, post-UFC 239 interviews and all this kind of stuff. Just check out BJPen.com. There's tons of content up there. MMAnews.com. I sent in a post-fight matchmaking article for the 5 main card winners. So I'll give who I think those guys should fight, including Michael Chiesa, who I didn't really talk about much on this podcast today, but I have a fight in mind for him, and I think you guys will like that fight. So check that out, MMAnews.com. And finally, MMARings.net. I'll be sending something to them today. I did so much writing yesterday that I wasn't able to get a chance to, but I will send in an article today, again, talking about this event and just the follow-up of it. So guys, I appreciate you tuning in today to the show. And I'll be back tomorrow morning to talk about the latest in the world of mixed martial arts. I hope you guys enjoy UFC 239. It was an amazing event. There was so much to talk about. But in this day and age of MMA, there's always a card around the corner. So this Wednesday, I'll be doing the breakdown with Cole Shelton for UFC Sacramento. My sister's getting married this weekend, so I won't be doing play-by-play for that card. In fact, I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch it live. I would doubt it, but I'll definitely watch it on the replay. But until then, guys, just enjoy the fights, and I'm sure we'll see some news about something in the world of MMA today on Twitter, and I'll talk about tomorrow morning on the show. So have a great day, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.